Hockey, tons of scores around the league. Put up a strong fight, and they do enough to get the win. The Canucks were in a dogfight on the road against the Blues. St. Louis took it to the net. The Red Wings took to the road to match up with the Devils. New Jersey pounds the opposition with a strong offensive display. Look at the celebration. What a great effort tonight.
He's so calm on this breakaway. He's got his head up the whole way. He picks his spot, snaps it by the goalie.
Let's check in on some of the final scores across the league tonight. The Habs took to the ice for a collision with the Rangers. Montreal played their best in overtime, and they get the 2 points. And a couple more results around the National Hockey League. The Stars took to the ice to lock up with the Ducks. Dallas turns in one of their stronger efforts of the year and pick up the win. The Blue Jackets had their hands full with the Golden Knights. Columbus pulls this one out in the shootout. Hey, a few more hot-button issues we got to get to. It's a jam-packed show tonight. Stick around. All right, let's take a look at some of the final scores in the league tonight. The Sabres were on the road up against the Jets. Winnipeg tees up a strong offensive game, and they easily pick up the win. The Maple Leafs were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Lightning. Toronto put in a strong effort. They needed extra time, and they still get the overtime win. The Flyers were hoping to take a bite out of the Hurricanes. Philadelphia tested their mettle in this one, but they still come away with the win. Time for a quick break, but we got a lot more coming up on the ice next. All right, at this time, let's get you caught up on all the action on the ice tonight. The Ducks were in a dogfight on the road up against the Panthers. Anaheim pulverizes their opponents with a big offensive night. The Maple Leafs had a tall order to fill as they tried to take 2 on the road against the Hurricanes. Carolina turned it up a notch in the skills competition, and they get the 2 points. The Senators were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Islanders. Ottawa puts in a full 60-minute effort to pull.
like he knew what he was doing. I'm not so sure he did, but he finished it off beautifully.
Let's take a look around the league and some of the final scores out there tonight. The Kraken paired up with the Canadiens. Montreal pounds home the winner in the extra frame and get the OT win. All right, checking in on some of the other action around the league tonight. The Kings took on the Oilers. Los Angeles toughs one out and pick up the win. The Ducks faced off with the Sabres. Buffalo picks up the 2 points in the overtime win. Don't go anywhere. We've got much more here on the show. Let's take a look at the rest of the action on the ice tonight in the National Hockey League. The Bees had an on-ice collision with the Canadiens. Montreal topples the opposition with a strong defensive performance. Hey, this wasn't the only stop in the National Hockey League tonight. Elsewhere around the league, the Sharks took to the ice to battle the Sabres. San Jose pummels the opposition into submission with a big offensive night. The Kraken played a game against the Avalanche. Seattle trampled their opponents with a big offensive night. Hey, we got to pay a couple of bills here, but we got a lot more action we got to get to. Stay with us. All right, at this time, everyone, we'll catch you up on what went down in all the action in the league tonight. The Canadiens were looking to grab points on the road against the Senators. Ottawa pads the stats on this particular night. Everybody gets in on the scoring action in the win. The Stars were on the road to take on the Flyers. Philadelphia turned it up a notch in the shootout, and they come away with the 2-point win. The Canucks were in tough with the Blackhawks. Vancouver pulls this one out in a game that went right down to the finish. We'll check the inbox, we'll check the text line, and hear what you have to say next. Okay, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Canes took to the road to match up with the Canadiens. Montreal tramples their opposition in this one with a powerhouse offensive display. Hey, we've got some other final scores we want to get you caught up with around the league, and we'll do that now. The Stars were hoping to fly high on the road against the Coyotes. Dallas powers this one out with a strong game in their own end. The Knights were on the road to take on the Flyers. Vegas tucks home the shootout winner, and they skate off with the extra point. We are as cool as ice, and we are bringing you many more stories from the NHL. We're doing it next. All right, let's get all you poolies and all you hockey fans caught up on all the action out on the ice tonight. The Red Wings were hoping to play spoiler against the Canadiens. Montreal posts an impressive win in a tightly contested affair. There were other games beyond just this one here in the NHL tonight. Let's get you caught up on some of those finals. The Panthers were looking to steal 2 points against the Coyotes. Florida topples their opponents with a strong effort late. The Avalanche played on the road against the Maple Leafs. Colorado pile drove their competition with a big-time win. A very special guest drops by on the show, and we'll do that next. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and what went down tonight on the ice. The Canadiens faced off against the Sharks. San Jose trusted the system, they stayed with it, and they pull out the win. This wasn't the only game in the league tonight. Let's get you caught up on some of the other finals. The Flyers look to run roughshod over the Oilers. Edmonton poked out a victory in a tight one. The Islanders went toe-to-toe on the road against the Senators. Ottawa torches the opposition with a big offensive output. We got to take a quick break, but we got a lot more coming your way next. Well, let's take a look at how the standings were impacted with some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Habs were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Bruins. Montreal pulverizes their opponents with a strong offensive display. Elsewhere on the ice tonight, the Cats were hoping to come up with 2 points on the road against the Golden Knights. Vegas tallies up the shutout performance thanks to a great effort between the pipes. The Wings were looking to steal 2 against the Blues. St. Louis posts the win with a strong defensive front when it mattered most. We got to take a quick break, everybody, but we've got a lot more to get to. Stay with us. All right, Jonah, I appreciate that perspective. And, you know, it is that sort of consistency that he has brought to the table on a nightly basis since... All right, lots of wild happenings on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of the scores of what went down. The Devils battled it out against the Canadiens. Montreal took the W in a close one. Time to look at what was happening elsewhere in the NHL schedule. The Hawks were in a dogfight on the road against the Jets. Chicago picks apart their opponents surgically with the win. The Yotes took to the road to match up with the Stars. Dallas totals the opposition with a big offensive night. Don't even think about touching that dial or touching that button. We've got plenty more on the ice, and that's next. Well, some fun, some drama, a little bit of everything on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of those scores around the league. The Penguins took to the ice for a collision with the Canadiens. Pittsburgh played a sound defensive game and pick up the regulation win. The Flames took to the ice to lock up with the Lightning. Tampa tore it up offensively on a night it seemed like everybody was scoring. The Blue Jackets had their hands full with the Kings. You know, I want to bring it back to him for just a second here. When you look at trying to project who's going to win what awards this season, I'll say this. I think you're looking at the leading candidate for the Lady Byng Award. You know, most gentlemanly player. And it's not to suggest he's soft. He plays hard. He competes. He's not dirty. Goes out there and delivers. Right? That's a guy you can trust out there. I think that's why he's earned a lot of respect from his teammates as well. But I think if I'm going to pencil in a winner right now, I'm going to lean towards him to claim the Lady Byng Award. All right, we'll take some of your predictions. Phones are wide open right now. Was there any volatility in the standings across the NHL tonight? Well, let's take a look at some of the final scores to find out. The Blue Shirts were on the road up against the Canadiens. The New York Rangers toughed this one out, and they get the 2 points. Let's check in on some of the other scores around the league. The Senators were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Sabres. Buffalo put in a gritty effort and were able to scratch out the victory. The Preds were hoping to take a bite out of the Kraken. Nashville tightened it up in their own end, and as a result, they get the payoff with a shutout win. Lots more still to come, including the story in MMA, the hardwood, and more. Stay with us. Time to take a look at what happened around the league as we check in on some of the scores. The Canadiens were in a dogfight on the road up against the Blues. St. Louis pounded their opponents into submission with a big offensive output. The Kings had a tall order to fill as they tried to take 2 on the road against the Panthers. Florida topples the opposition with a strong defensive effort. Look, I think we can all agree. We like how he plays. We like the skill set. But you have got to play with a little more fire, a little more compete. You gotta turn that care meter up. Find that dial that goes to 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Turn it up, crank that sucker up. And I think that's exactly the message that the coaching staff has been trying to preach. The skill's there, the talent's there. But man, it is frustrating to watch when it doesn't come together on a regular basis. Back to the phones we go. We got Pedram on line 4. Well, busy night in the National Hockey League. Let's see what happened elsewhere on the ice. The Canadiens were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Ducks. Montreal pulls this one out late in a game that had end-to-end action all night long. The Panthers took on the Islanders. The New York Islanders triumphed easily in this one. The Avalanche played on the road against the Blue Jackets. Colorado posts a win in a close one. We got a jam-packed show. Think about going anywhere. Stay with us. Busy night of action on the ice. Let's take a look at some of the finals that are in from tonight. The Habs faced off with the Canucks. Montreal toughed this one out, and they get the 2 points. Hey, no shortage of action and drama on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at what happened elsewhere. The Flames had an on-ice collision with the Kings. Los Angeles pounds their opposition with a big offensive night. The Oilers took to the ice to battle the Rangers. The New York Rangers took this one with a strong defensive effort in their own end. The Avs were looking to grab points on the road against the... Now let's take a look at some of the rest of the action tonight in the NHL. The Predators were on the road to take on the Canadiens. Montreal triumphs with a big offensive effort. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule in the NHL. And coming into this one, can he hit 50? That's what we're wondering. Right there on the cut line, can they hit that 50-goal mark? That would be a fun storyline to track as we inch closer and closer to puck drop. Ray Ferraro will join me up in the broadcast booth in just a few minutes. We'll get his thoughts as we get ready. All right, let's go around the horn and see what happened elsewhere around the NHL tonight. The Canadiens were in tough with the Stars. Dallas plays the role of destroyer in the win. All right, that wasn't the only action on the ice. Let's go elsewhere around the National Hockey League. The Islanders took to the road to match up with the Rangers. The New York Rangers tightened it up about as good as they can with the shutout win. The Blue Jackets were hoping to fly high on the road against the Sabres. Columbus plastered the opposition with goals, and even more goals. The story on the ice continues in a moment. Great night to be on the couch and watching hockey. Tons of scores around the league. Let's take a look at what went down. The Bruins were on the road to take on the Canadiens. Montreal turned it up in the shootout, and they come away with the 2-point win. The Canucks were hoping to play spoiler against the Coyotes. Vancouver played about as good as they have all year long defensively, and they pick up the clean sheet shutout win. The Blackhawks were looking to steal 2 points against the Kings. Los Angeles treated almost everyone to a magical offensive display. Lots more to get to on the ice. Stay with us, everybody. Let's check in on some of the final scores across the league tonight. The Penguins faced off against the Canadiens. Montreal plays pad the stat night with a strong offensive performance. The Flames look to run roughshod over the Blues. St. Louis Those were pretty pointed comments from the coaching staff to say, hey, look, you need to tighten it up on the ice. You are way too undisciplined out there. We've tried to talk to you about this, and you're not getting the message. I don't know what's next, but I would think that maybe some playing time that could be shaved if you're not going to listen to what the coaching staff's telling you. But look, too many reckless penalties. It's hurting the team. But I thought it was pretty public from the coach's sentiment there from those comments that he needs to tighten it up. All right, meantime, some other interesting comments around the NHL here. All right, let's take a look at some of the final scores in the league tonight. The Canadiens went toe-to-toe on the road against the Lightning. Montreal pulverizes the opposition with a big offensive night. The Panthers were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Maple Leafs. Toronto took this one with a strong game at both ends of the ice. The Sabres were hoping to come up with 2 points on the road against the Bruins. Buffalo played a strong game at both ends of the ice, and as a result, they get the win. Hey, we got to take a quick pause for the cause, but we got a lot more on the other side. Don't even think about leaving us. All right, at this time, let's get you caught up on all the action on the ice tonight. The Habs were looking to steal 2 against the Red Wings. Detroit takes the win in a very close game. Hey, with this one all said and done, let's get you caught up on some of the other final matchups in the league tonight. The Capitals battled it out against the Rangers. The New York Rangers triumphed easily in this one. The Sens were in a dogfight on the road against the Maple Leafs. Toronto tested their skills in the shootout portion, and they passed with flying colors in the skills competition. We got to take a quick pause for the cause, but we got a lot more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Let's take a look around the league and some of the final scores out there tonight. The Canadians took to the... And hey, I want to bring it back to the man of the hour here. Let's take a look at the rest of the action on the ice tonight in the National Hockey League. The Sabres took to the ice for a collision with the Canadians. Buffalo takes this one in a fun one. The Isles took to the ice to lock up with the Panthers. Florida played pad the stats night en route to the victory. The Canucks had their hands full with the Sharks. San Jose, too much to handle in the shootout, and they get the win. Lots more puck talk coming your way, and we'll get to it next. Congratulations again, 50 goals in the season. You know, to this day, and it's always been revered as that magical mark. Ever since Rocket Richard hit it, how many years ago? And here we are even now, after all these years, even in a different century, we still look to 50 as being a magical number in the National Hockey League. So congratulations on hitting 50. That's one time when you turn 50 that it's okay, right? All right, still to come here on the show, we will hear post-game reaction. All right, at this time, everyone, we'll catch you up on what went down in all the action in the league tonight. The Rangers were on the road up against the Wild. Minnesota played one of their strongest defensive games of the year, and they get the win. The Jets were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Golden Knights. Winnipeg turned it up a notch in their defensive game, and they pick up the shutout victory. Okay, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Rangers were hoping to take a bite out of the Wild. Minnesota played a complete game in this one and easily get the regulation win. The Jets were in a dogfight on the road up against the Golden Knights. Winnipeg tosses up a clean sheet thanks to a beautiful effort in goal. The Pens had a tall order to fill as they tried to take 2 on the road against the Canucks. Pittsburgh pummels the opposition with a strong offensive output. Hey, a few more hot button issues we got to get to. It's a jam-packed show tonight. Stick around. All right, let's get all you poolies and all you hockey fans caught up on all the action out on the ice tonight. The Leafs were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Canadians. Montreal torches the opposition with a big night offensively. With this one in the books, there's a few other final scores we'll get you caught up on at this time. The Kraken paired up with the Devils. New Jersey posts a win in a tightly contested affair. The Flyers took on the Red Wings. Philadelphia toasted the opposition with a humongous offensive output. Time for a quick break, but we got a lot more coming up on the ice next. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and what went down tonight on the ice. The Canadiens faced off with the Panthers. Montreal pushes past in a tight one. And a couple more results around the National Hockey League. The Sabres had an on-ice collision with the Blue Jackets. Buffalo tore it up on the ice. It almost seemed like everybody got in on the scoring in the win. The Blackhawks took to the ice to battle the Wild. Chicago perfect between the pipes. They were also pretty good defensively as well, and it all adds up to a shutout win. Hey, a few more hot button issues we got to get to. It's a jam-packed show tonight. Stick around. You know, when you look at the run that he has had over the course of his career, I mean, he's already built a pretty good resume to make a case for the Hall of Fame. Couple of Stanley Cups, has just been an absolute cornerstone for this franchise. But I also think he's not done yet, right? Like, I'm not ready to retire him just yet. I'm personally speaking, I'm wondering, does he still have enough for a third Stanley Cup? Can he win again? Can he take this team over the top one more time? I personally speaking, I think he has it in him. I think that there's still another run here in him and his ability. But I'm going to turn this over to you. Phone lines are open now. We got a few people already jumping in here. Again, let's go to Danny on line 3. Hey, Danny.
Goalie just can't keep up with this. He's close to the net, but he's still able to have enough room to beat the goaltender.
Montreal goal, scored by number 8, assisted by number 76. Time of the goal, 13 minutes, 29 seconds.
You get one, you want to think about a second one. It doesn't matter if you're at home or on the road, but you do this on the road, you feel a great accomplishment.
And there's the one hat that he gets for scoring on the road.
A breakaway for him means he's just got more time to pick his spot. When you can release it like that, you're not even thinking deep.
Montreal goal, his third of the game, scored by number 8, time of the goal, 13 minutes, 41 seconds.
Right off the pipe, and a good break as that puck can bounce anywhere, but he got the inside part of it, and it goes into the goal. argument they don't want to watch this anymore. The players don't want to play it anymore either. Can this thing go to running time soon?
And here he comes, the captain, to collect the cup. What a story of leadership this playoff run.
Well, he's always been known as a leader, but it's his production, James, that really stood out to me in this playoffs. He leads the team in goals. He's the captain of the team. He becomes the backbone of this squad, and now he's the first to hoist the Stanley Cup.
If you've played or you were a fan, you've dreamed of this moment, and he's realized his dream.
Every kid wins the Stanley Cup every day in their backyard. Now you actually get to live that dream for real? Man, I'm so envious. This is awesome.
Oh, look at this moment here, Ray. He's finally done it. I think every hockey fan is happy for him here.
I'm sure there were many times where he started to wonder, could this ever happen? Or is the sand going to run out before I get a chance? Look at how happy he is.
Ray, we typically look to the big guns to produce, but you know what? If you're going to win a Stanley Cup, you need secondary scoring. There was one with an exclamation mark.
Oh, the worker bees have to show up. They've got to give energy. They've got to kill penalties. And if you can chip in with a big goal or two, it's a bonus. He had a fantastic Stanley Cup playoffs.
amazed that the confidence that this athlete has, not just in himself, but with this core still. 4 Stanley Cups and counting now, and already still proclaiming a desire and an expectation to win more. Like, that is bold, and that is confident with what we've seen. But quite frankly, whether I want to think that this is a hot take or not, I'm not going there. Because look at what they've done. 4 Stanley Cups already. They have ripped through the NHL. And I don't see this team ending this run anytime soon. Look at the numbers they continue to generate.